Hi guys, it's me again, Natasha from Tanghole Smart. Last week I showed you how I play With or Without You by U2. So this week I thought I'd give you a bit of a demo on how to go about playing the same way that I did on the guitar, so that you can either accompany yourself singing it, or you can play along with me if you just want to learn the guitar part. I'm not claiming to be the best guitarist in the world, but I find ways that I can facilitate myself to be able to play and sing at the same time, to make my life easier. Some of you may find, as I do, that some of the chords on the guitar can be quite tricky to get your fingers around, and can be quite hard on your hands. So what I like to do quite often when I'm actually singing and playing guitar at the same time, to make my life as easy as possible, is to put a capo on and find the chords that work using the capo. So with or Without You, the chords that I'm actually technically playing are D, A, B minor and G, but the shapes that I play when I'm playing this song are G, D, E minor and C, and that's because I've put a capo on the 7th position, on the 7th fret, if you can see. So what I'm going to do now is show you guys how to play the chord shapes that I'm playing using the capo. So you may think, why am I using the capo? But as I said earlier, the B minor chord is in there if I were playing uncapoed, which just makes life a bit more difficult because you have to bar the chord. So in order to avoid that, I've done some simple changes to make the chords easier for me to play. So the first chord that I'm going to show you is the G chord, which is the first chord that's played continuously throughout the song. So the first chord is G, and that is like this. So you can either put your first finger on the 5th string, so that's your A string, on the 2nd fret, and then you would put your second finger, or your middle finger, on the bottom E string on the 3rd fret. And when we call it the bottom E string, it seems a bit odd because it's at the top of the guitar as you're looking down at it, but it's because it's the lowest sounding note on the strings, whereas this is your top string because it's the highest note of your strings. So it's first finger on the A string on the 2nd fret, second finger or middle finger on the 3rd fret on the bottom E string, and then your 3rd finger, this finger, wants to go on your top E string on the 3rd fret again. So this is what that sounds like. But if you're like me and you find that not such a comfortable position for your hand, then I play it with my second or middle finger on the A string on the 2nd fret, my 3rd finger, this finger, on the 3rd fret of the bottom E string, and my little finger, this finger, on the 3rd fret of the top E string. So that was the G chord. Now to play the next chord we're going to do a D. So that goes like this. So for the D shape chord you play with your first finger on the third string, which is your G string, on the second fret. So that's that one there. And then you put your second or middle finger again on the second fret, but this time of the top E string. And then finally you put your third finger on the third fret of your second string or your B string. So that's this one here. So that altogether sounds like that. And for the D chord you only want to play your top 4 strings there, because those 2 bottom strings there don't belong in that chord. Not if you play it with using that shape. So that was your D chord. Now the third chord that you need to play in this song is E minor, which I find to be the easiest of all the chords in general. So you can either use your first 2 fingers or you can use your second and third finger for this, but I like to use my second and third finger. So I'm going to put my second or middle finger on the second fret of the 5th string, which is your A string, so that's there. And then you're going to put your third finger, or this finger, on the second fret of the D string, which is your 4th string, so just directly underneath the other one. And then you're going to play all your strings for that one. Now you'll notice that when I'm playing the guitar in this song, if you've watched the video of me playing with or without you, that I'm finger picking. So I'll go into that a bit more at the end of this video. But for now that's your E minor chord. So your final chord is your C chord, which looks like this. Now you don't want to play the bottom E there with that chord, but how you put your fingers on for the C shaped chord is you put your first finger on the 1st fret of the second or the B string, so that's there. Then you put your second finger or your middle finger on the 2nd fret of D, which is your 4th string, and then finally you put your third finger on your A string on the 3rd fret, which is your 5th string. There's that one there, and it kind of looks like a diagonal sort of line. So those are your 4 chords for this song, and they just keep repeating throughout the song. Now to talk about finger picking. So I find, and I was taught years ago, that if you use your thumb for the bottom 3 strings, that always makes things easier, and then you rest your usual fingers that you play with, which are your 1st, your 2nd and your 3rd fingers. You rest those on your top 3 strings, so that they're always ready to play those strings. So the first chord you're going to play is your G chord. That's me plucking the bottom string and then the top 3 strings all together there, but you're going to play them individually. Now the picking pattern that I've used for this song is one that I just find easy for this particular song, but you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. But if you want to have a go at the way I'm playing it, then this is the picking pattern that I'm using. So slowed down, I'm using my thumb on the bottom string there. This is with the G shape chord, remember. So that's going to be your thumb on your bottom string. Then you use your first finger to pluck the G string or the 3rd string, and then you're sort of going downwards and then coming back upwards. So you go thumb, index finger, middle finger is going to then hit on the 2nd string or your B string, and then your 3rd finger is going to hit the top string, and then we're going back up, so we go back to the B string or the 2nd string, and then you go back to the 3rd string, which is your G string, and then finally back to your B string with your middle finger again. So put that all together slowly and it goes like this. So that's for your G shape. So you might think, what am I going to do for the D shape chord? But it's just exactly the same, except instead of putting your thumb on your bottom string, you move your thumb to the D string, which is your 4th string, because these bottom strings are not in the D shape, so you don't want to play it. So you just do the other strings exactly the same. So it's and then for E minor you go back to the thumb at the bottom string again, keeping your other fingers in exactly the same positions and playing the strings in the same way. You can sometimes miss out strings if you want to mix it up a little bit and have a slight change of your picking pattern midway. As long as it fits together with what you've been playing before, it doesn't really matter. And then for your C chord shape, you keep the fingers again exactly the same, but you pluck your A string with your thumb instead this time, so that's your 5th string. So that goes like this. And I personally find fingerpicking a lot easier than strumming. A lot of people think I'm a bit odd for that, but I think that once you've got a fingerpicking pattern in your mind, and it becomes sort of second nature with your fingers doing the work rather than brain thinking about it too much. You're just then changing the chords, and you're thinking more about the words that you're singing, and it seems to facilitate that easier in my head anyway. So I hope that helps you guys to have a go at playing that song, and if you enjoy that, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, please. See you soon. Bye.